I was born in 1931 to a mother who cared about me, but was insecure in economic terms and dedicated in her insecurity to work. My mother, from the moment she could teach, did teach, continued to teach until she no longer could teach. She paid any and every price to provide economic security to the extent that she could. I had a father who had ability, very outgoing, very social, highly criticized by my mother because of her economic insecurity. So rather than really being a support to my dad, she was an antagonist. But my dad cared so much about my mother. He respected her in every way. And despite her antagonism of and criticism of him, he never wavered from loving, supporting, and holding her hand. So a mother and father who were challenged in their mind and in reality economically, but from the standpoint of me, they both cared, they both believed in me. I do not understand mother's challenges as a woman. I do know they felt very blessed that I was able to be born, and for reasons they never shared, they were not able to have any more children. So a dad who treasured me, a mother who treasured me, left to be taken care of by a grandma that I can remember very little about. I don't know to what extent she might have influenced my personality. I do know that she, as an individual, was extremely intelligent, very, very impatient. A woman whose heritage, whose background was very strict, very orthodox, very talented, and she married a man who did not live up in any way to what it was that she needed, did not seem to be of a personality or of a temperament that was consistent with what she eventually wanted. Marriage is so complicated, and who knows what makes it work, what doesn't make it work. In this instance, I had a grandma who really could do anything, and it seemed like I had a grandpa who hardly could do anything other than being devoted to the church, dedicated to the church, served missions. In any case, what I saw and my grandma and grandpa was a couple that did not in any way get along. And that's where I lived for the first 5 years of my life, because my mother taught, my dad was away. An example that I've shared with my children about the impatience of my grandma was when I was very, very little, her asking me, following her down into the basement to help her do whatever she was going to do, which in this case was to gather some eggs. And so she gave me one of her eggs to hold and take, and she looked at me and she said, "Now hold it tight, Alan." And I held it tight and squashed it. And she absolutely came unglued, saying whatever she could, expressing how dumb I was to have squashed the egg, and all I could think is she told me to hold it tight, and I did. In any case, the background, the relationship, I moved into elementary school